The night of the 11th of November 1990 was quiet at number 33 Cadí Street. Ana Rubió, a 55-year-old woman, was sleeping peacefully in her flat when suddenly, at 3:15 a.m., she heard a loud noise from the living room. She got up in the dark and ran to see what had happened. But she didn't realize that there was no more living room. The floor had collapsed and Anna fell down a 4-story hall and lost her life. Hello, my name is Oscar Vaelo. I'm a certified lawyer with Vaelo Legal, and today I'm going to tell you about something really important that you must know if you are planning to buy a flat in Barcelona. It's something that may ruin your property and could cost you a lot of money. And no, this is not clickbait. This is Aluminosis. But before I explain what Aluminosis is, let's go back to history. In the 40s, Spain was a war-torn and isolated country, as it was the only fascist regime left standing after the Second World War. In the 50s, the sanctions on Franco fascist regime began to be progressively lifted, as the new enemy was not fascism anymore, but communism. So Spain was seen as an ally against the common enemy of the Soviet Union. It was then that the northern part regions of Spain, like Catalonia and Euskadi, had a rapid industrialization, and they needed many people working in the factories. So millions of people from the south of Spain emigrated to the north. Barcelona, in little more than 2 decades, doubled its population, so it suddenly needed to build hundreds of thousands of new houses to accommodate all these newcomers. The need to build as quickly as possible led builders to find new ways to improve efficiency. And then is when appeared a French technological innovation, and that was alumina cement. It's a regular cement but with aluminium, which makes cement to dry faster, so they could also build faster, saving time and money. Everything was going well until the 11th of November of 1990, when a building in Barcelona collapsed, killing the poor Ana Rubió. After an investigation, they found that the reason for that incident was that the building was made with alumina cement. The problem with this cement is that when the temperature is over 18 degrees Celsius, it is easily hydrated. It absorbs the humidity of the air. Hence, it loses consistency and affects the stability of the building. When this happens is when this building has aluminosis. It is what happened to the building of the number 33 of Cadí Street. At that moment, panic was spread amongst Barcelona residents. There was no record of the buildings built with alumina cement, so nobody knew whether the house was safe or if it was going to collapse as well. In the next years, thousands of buildings were analyzed, concluding that 53% of all buildings constructed between 1955 and 1973 had used this type of degenerated cement in their construction. Those buildings that were most affected had to be braced, others demolished, and others placed under surveillance. Although this type of cement was used all over Spain, the most serious cases were found in the most humid areas, such as those close to the sea, like Barcelona, of course. In Madrid, for example, there were many fewer buildings affected, but some of them, like the Atlético de Madrid Stadium, the Vicente Calderón, as it's located next to the Manzanares River, which generates a higher humidity in the area, had to be partially rebuilt and reinforced. The use of this cement is now banned almost everywhere in the world. But it still has certain uses. For example, after the Chernobyl accident in 1986, the reactor number 4 was covered with thousands of tons of alumina cement, because at that time the priority was to stop the leak of radiation in the shortest possible time. So a cement that cools down quickly was needed. And I know what you are thinking at this moment. Okay, Oscar, I understand that this is something very important, but how can I know if a certain property has aluminosis? Unfortunately, there's no registry of buildings with aluminosis, and it is not written anywhere. You have to make your own investigation. Well, you or your lawyer. First, you should check the year that it was built. If it was not built between 1955 and 1973, there's no need to worry. If the building was built in that period, then you should check whether the building has alumina cement. The investigation involves asking the administration of the building and the neighbors, sending an architect to see if there are visible symptoms of aluminosis, and if there's any doubt, you should make a test, which may cost you between 300 and 500 euros. If the result is positive, don't panic yet. It doesn't mean that the building has developed aluminosis. Most of the time, the amount used is so small that it doesn't mean any risk. Only 8% of the buildings constructed with aluminous cement will eventually develop some form of aluminosis. Also, if the flat you want to buy has aluminosis, maybe it has already been repaired, so then you have nothing to worry about. There are even investors who are only looking for properties with aluminosis, because it could be a good business. However, this shouldn't be a problem if you hire a lawyer with experience with these matters. And I know what you are thinking at this moment. Okay, let's say that we already have bought a property and then we found out that we have been cheated and it has aluminosis. What we can do? Well, in that case, you have the right to claim a compensation to the previous owner for the loss of the value. Or even if the damage is so great that it cannot be solved, you can ask for the termination of the purchase. That is, the seller gives you back your money and you give back him his lousy flat. If you have any questions, leave me a comment on the video or send me an email. See you soon!